Good morning. It being 9:30, I'd like to call to order the organizational meeting of the Long Range Capital Planning and Utilization Committee. I would like to recognize Senator Lang for a motion, please.
I move Representative Mills as chair.
Motion has been made. Do we have a second? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I would like to make a motion. I'd like to make the motion to nominate Senator Mark McConkey as vice chair.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. We will not vote on this motion at this meeting. We'll carry it over to our next one. Senator McConkey isn't here to accept the nomination. I would like to make a further motion to nominate Representative John Cloutier as the clerk of this committee.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded.
And I accept the nomination, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, let's move on to the committee orientation, the LRCP 25001 is in your package. Mr. Shea, can you walk us through this, please?
So just before that, you have the guidelines and the procedures page. So something that this committee has done for a long period of time is to suggest to agencies what the commission rate should be if they have property sold, and what the final sale can go below 10%, can't go below 10% of what the asking price was that they presented to this committee, as well as the procedural aspects of providing information to our office to get on this agenda, and if it's a late item, to ask for the committee's, the chair of the committee's permission to do so. Again, the information that you ask for related to the commission and the pricing is more informational that helps you make the decision on whether to dispose of property. This committee's charge is to do an up or down vote on allowing the property to be sold or leased, not to set the actual dollar to it. So if the committee's okay with that, I think you just would want to get an affirmative action on that. And then the item 25-001 is just the statutes that you might see as a result of sitting on this committee when the items come forward, and the organization of the committee. So that's all I got on that.
Motion to approve?
Approved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3 is the acceptance of minutes of our November 12th, 2024 meeting. Motion has been made and seconded by Senators Pearl and Lang.
Mr. Chairman, I was absent, so I will abstain.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
Representative Cloutier.
Representative Cloutier, got them all? Cloutier or Faulkner? Motion carries. Old business, none. New business. Long Range Capital Planning, 25-003. Department of Administration Services requests approval on behalf of the Department of Military Affairs and Veterans Services to lease from the Berlin Airport Authority for a term of up to 55 years and fixed annual rent of $1, approximately 5.66 acres of Berlin Regional Airport land, located along the easterly side of the East Side River Road in the town of Milan, New Hampshire, together with any site improvements thereon and all rights of way, accretions? I've never seen that before. Easements, tenements. Yeah, okay. Building to be primarily occupied and used by the New Hampshire Army National Guard, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated January 16th, 2025. You're up.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the Honorable Committee. My name is Jared Nyland. I'm the Real Property Asset Manager with the New Hampshire Department of Administrative Services. I have General Michaelides here with me from the Department of Military Affairs and Veteran Services. This is a proposed ground lease. There's about 5.66 acres of land at the Berlin Regional Airport in Milan, New Hampshire. It is adjacent to one end of the runway. It is also abuts, what's the road there? East Side River Road in Milan. Currently, the land is largely undeveloped. However, there are, I believe there's at least one snowmobile trail crossing it or around it, and then I think there's an access point from the main road. Other than that, the proposal under the ground lease is for the Department of Military Affairs and Veteran Services to construct a Army Aviation Support building on site. This is, as I understand it, somewhat similar in concept to what currently exists at Concord Airport, but on a smaller scale. Do you have anything to add, Jim?
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. For the record, I'm David Michaelides, the Adjutant General of the New Hampshire National Guard. All right, so what are we trying to do? We're trying to build a hangar to save lives. And so in federal fiscal year 2023, we received approximately $5.5 million to build through a congressionally directed spending project to build a hangar up in the Berlin Airport in the town of Milan. And so it's a very small scale. It will have 0 full-time presence, and what it'll allow us to do is to conduct training in the White Mountain National Forest and to help ourselves with fish and game save lives through search and rescue operations. So it's going to be no permanent manning, a hangar facility, potentially with a small administrative section, depending on how the construction dollars come out. And there's some peculiar things about this. One of it is like, why $1 a year for 50 years? The reason why is there's 2 reasons. One is the Department of Defense is exempt from FAA fair market value rates at airports, right? So you go to the FAA regulation, the compliance rules, and you say it's okay. As long as the Department of Defense has a flying mission, you're exempt from fair market value. The second thing is when we receive what's called military construction dollars from the president's budget, we have to show ownership for a minimum of 25 to 30 years. So you have $1 a year lease for 50 years, and that's the reason why. Like I said, for the full-time presence, there will be 0 full-time presence there. What we're trying to do is just help our airmen train, our pilots, because next year they're deploying to Kosovo for a United Nations peacekeeping mission. So every 3 to 4 years, our helicopter units deploy. And because of the size of the training area in the White Mountain National Forest, having a pre-positioned hangar that's available in the event a helicopter breaks, in the event we have to stage something up there for search and rescue operations, it just increases the value and opportunity for us to train our soldiers and airmen.
Any questions, comments? Senator Lang.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
If I may, Mr. Chair, I did want to add one thing to the record. When we submitted this item, the maximum lease term was 55 years. On Friday, we learned that the Federal Aviation Administration objects to any lease longer than 50 years at this airport. So we have revised that. So it's now 50 years is the maximum lease term, not 55.
Any problem with that, Mr. Shea?
I think we're fine. It's on the record.
Okay, thank you
As
very
long
much.
as the committee's okay with that.
Committee's fine. Moving on to LRCP 25-004, the Department of Justice. Requests approval of a 30-year lease with Concord Hospital for a 10,500 square foot space at 279 Pleasant Street in Concord, New Hampshire, as premises for the chief medical examiner's offices, morgue, and autopsy suite, which would also include the services of 2 full-time medical examiner assistants and .25 manned security, with a lease effective date planned for March 1st, 2026, with an end date of February 28th, $2,056, and a total estimated cost of $37,259,882 over the lease term, subject to the conditions as specified in the request dated January 28th, 2025. Welcome to Capital Budget Overview.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members. My name is Sean Gill. I'm the Chief of Staff at the Department of Justice, and I'm here with our Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Jenny Duval. The Medical Examiner's Office is a component of the Department of Justice, which is why we're here together today. We're here to ask the committee's approval to proceed with the lease for premises at 279 Pleasant Street for the Medical Examiner's Office, Autopsy Suite, and Morgue. The Chief Medical Examiner is required by law to conduct death investigations in 24 different categories of deaths. Many of those involve autopsies. This year alone, they're on course to conduct about 750 autopsies. The state doesn't own any building or facilities that are capable of conducting autopsies or storing bodies pending autopsies. So for the past 39 years, plus or minus, we've been leasing office space from Concord Hospital at 250 Pleasant Street, the office park adjacent to the main hospital, and then paying a separate fee for every time that the medical examiner uses the morgue to conduct an autopsy. That lease and that arrangement are due to expire next year. And the hospital's made clear that we're not going to be able to continue on the same terms that we've had in years past. They'd like to make other uses for the offices that the medical examiner currently occupies for their own purposes. And the morgue that the medical examiner is using, that they're sharing with the hospital, is getting to be inadequate over the year with the number of cases they do going up, with the addition of a third medical examiner, with their body storage at capacity. In fact, Dr. Duval can talk about some present-day examples of that, but they're exceeding the capacity to store bodies there at the hospital. And the morgue in the basement of the hospital is a footprint that can't be expanded. So we've had conversations with the hospital. They've identified another location just up the road at 279 Pleasant Street, and they're willing to build out and fit out the first floor of that building to accommodate the medical examiner's offices, an autopsy suite for 3 doctors, and body storage or a morgue for basically double the capacity that the medical examiners have now. So we're asking the committee's permission to proceed with the lease along the terms that were laid out in a letter of intent the party signed at the end of last year. And it would be over a term of 30 years. The hospital would build out, as I say, and equip the facility for the exclusive use of the medical examiner for its offices, morgue, and autopsy suites. So we're available to answer any questions the committee might have.
Any questions or comments? Senator Lang.
Move to approve 25004.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir. Senator Lang.
I move the chair is allowed to just reference the item number in the department. We all have that agenda in front of us. We can read it to save you from the long dissertation that you have to go through on each one of these.
Gratefully welcome to thank you. Moving on to the Department of Safety, LRCP 25012, requests authorization to enter into a lease agreement with the City of Concord at 91 Airport Road for a period of 10 years.
Good
Please,
morning,
welcome to Capital Projects. State your name.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Amy Newbury. I'm the Director of Administration with the Department of Safety. And item 25012 authorizes the Department of Safety, the Division of State Police, to enter into a lease agreement with the City of Concord for the premise of 91 Airport Road. It's a 10-year lease agreement with the option to renew for 2 one-year periods. The lease has a 3% escalation each year. The property currently houses the New Hampshire State Police aircraft, and it's home to the mobile enforcement team. The land is 25,350 square feet. And on that land is the hangar, the airport hangar, and that is 8,560 square feet. The hangar obviously is the aircraft storage, but also has some office space. And we're really excited to enter into the potential of 12 years lease because that hangar is currently undergoing a complete renovation project through capital. And I'm happy to answer your questions.
Any questions?
Move to approve item 25012.
Senator Lang moves approval. And seconded by Senator Pearl. Questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to LRCP 25-005, Department of Transportation. Requests approval to continue efforts to dispose of 2 parcels of state-owned land located at 105 South Main Street and Sexton Avenue in the city of Concord. You're up, sir. Identify yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Eric Sargent, Administrative Bureau Right-of-Way, Department of Transportation. Pursuant to RSA 4:39C, the department requests approval to continue efforts to dispose of 2 contiguous parcels of state-owned land consisting of .67 acres located at 105 South Main Street and Sexton Avenue in Concord. These parcels are remnants of larger parcels that were required for the construction of Store Street Extension. The parcels are irregular shaped with limited access. Parcel A was acquired from Mary Ann Shepherd in 1981 for $211,000 with a total area of .309 acres, of which .26 acres remain that was not needed for right-of-way purposes. Parcel A is identified as Concord Tax Map 28, Lot 14. Parcel B was acquired from Albert and Lorraine Minuti in 1981 for $62,000 with a total area of .489 acres, the remnant piece being .41 acres. Parcel B is Concord Tax Map 28, Lot 13. The department originally received approval by committee to dispose of these parcels on September 15th, 2023, LCRP item 2325, with a listing price of $1,100,000. The parcels have been active for sale on the open market on multiple listings since September 2023. Department has received feedback from potential buyers. The listing price of $1,100,000 is not financially viable in the current market conditions. Contributing factors are current inflation and increased interest rates. The realtors receive limited interest in the parcels at the current market price. The listing agent also acknowledged that the original listing price was inflated due to past market conditions. The listing firm is of the professional opinion that the price reduction is warranted. Department's recent appraisal of December 2024, done by a licensed certified general appraiser, provided the market value of $875,000. In consideration of this information, and with the committee's approval, the department will retroactively extend the listing agreement for a term of 1 year with NAI Norwood Group for the period of November 20th, 2024 to November 2025. November 20th, 2025, with a listing price of $875,000. The department will also assess an administrative fee of $1,100. Conditions of the sale would include the buyer to commission a land surveyor licensed in New Hampshire to prepare a boundary survey depicting the existing right-of-way. The buyer shall be responsible for all local and state land use approvals before the closing. Due to the proximity of the property to the Concord Municipal Airport, before any proposed construction or alteration of structures or temporary equipment used on this property, the proponent will need to notice the FAA. Parcel B is encumbered by a 25-foot wide permanent sewer easement and an 8-inch drain line. The conveyance deed will contain language for accepting and reserving these easements for the city of Concord. That's all I have.
Any questions?
Move to approve item
I'll
number
second that.
25005.
Motion has been made and seconded by Representative Cloutier. Any questions or comments?
I do have one comment.
Senator Lang.
So having been on this committee when we put this land on the listing to begin with, last term, I believe it was, do we have any expectation we'll actually sell it with the slope of that land and the access of that land being guardrailed in from Store Street?
Thank you for the question, Senator. That is it is a limiting factor. The topography and the access is not ideal, but there is some interest. The realtor feels at a reduced price that should generate more interest.
Thank you.
Representative Faulkner.
My question is related. The only access to this property is by Sexton Street, not from stores. Is that correct?
Thank you for the question. Yes, Representative. It is only by Sexton Ave. No access from Store Street would be provided.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to LRCP 25-006. Carry on, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department requests authorization to sell 6 parcels of land consisting of 9.49 acres of state-owned land along New Hampshire Route 16 and US Route 302 in Conway. The department will enter into a listing agreement for one-year term with Pinkham Real Estate. The subject property will include all 6 parcels with a listing price of $1,800,000 with an administrative fee of $1,100. Pinkham Real Estate, if successful in this sale, will be given a 4% sales commission. The department originally received approval by the committee on April 12, 2024 as LCRP item 2415. At that time, New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority was the buyer. The sale terminated at the request of New Hampshire Housing. Upon further review of the parcels, the department determined, the department determined the original requested acreage of 7.2 acres was incorrect and has since revised it and corrected the area to 9.49. The 6 parcels were acquired as part of the Conway Bypass Project, which was later dissolved in 2020. Parcel 304 was acquired in 2002 from Arthur Roberts and Mary Sue Witherill for $323,000 and is currently identified as part of tax map 215 lot 58. Parcel 305 was acquired in 98 from Ruth Burtis for $178,000. Parcel 305 is part of the current tax map 215 lot 108. Parcel 307 was acquired in 1999 from Frederick Abruzzi for $150,000. Parcel 307 is part of current tax map 215 lot 108. Parcel 308 was acquired in 04 from Ingrid Ziskelly for $5,200. Parcel 308 is part of current tax map 215 lot 57. Parcels 309 and 310 were acquired in 1996 from Gene Chandler Realty, Inc. for $122,000. Parcel 309 is part of current tax map, Conway tax map 215 lot 108, and parcel 310 is part of the current tax map 215 lot 56. Conditions of the sale include the buyer commissioning a licensed land surveyor to prepare a perimeter survey illustrating the existing right-of-way or any mutually agreed-upon adjustments. Controlled access of the right-of-way will be set along Route 16 and 302 to be consistent with the existing controlled access right-of-way in this area. The subject property shall be limited to no more than 2 points of access. The buyer will be responsible for local and state land use approvals before closing, accepting and reserving a 30-foot access point for the parcel identified as Conway tax map 215 lot 60 as shown on Conway 11339I construction plans, also accepting and reserving all slope and drainage easements as shown on the Conway 11339I construction plans, accepting and reserving 2 utility easements on parcels 310. A staff appraiser from the department evaluated the property and concluded it does have independent highest best use as a single parcel, single economic unit as an investment opportunity for high commercial and/or high-density development with a determined fair market value of $1,660,000. The department received a market analysis from 3 different realtors, and we determined that Pinkham Real Estate, based on their market analysis and estimated value, was closest to the state appraisal, which was done by a licensed survey general appraiser. Therefore, it was determined Pinkham Real Estate was the successful bidder. Pursuant to RSA 439C, the department solicited interest from the town of Conway, who subsequently declined interest. Pursuant to RSA 204D:2, the department solicited interest from New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority, and they are no longer interested in purchasing the identified parcels. That's all I have.
Any questions? Seeing none. Motion's been made by Senator Pearl,
I'll second that motion.
seconded by Representative Cloutier. Questions? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Continuing with the DOT, LRCP 25-007. Request to dispose of 7 parcels of state-owned land. Continue, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department requests approval to dispose of 7 parcels of state-owned land in Lisbon. 4 parcels are located on the easterly side of Hodge Hill Road, and the remaining 3 parcels are located on the westerly side with total acreage of 3.83 acres. The department will enter into a listing agreement for a 1-year term with Badger, Peabody, and Smith Realty. The 7 parcels of land were acquired for the Troy Bypass Project, which was later dissolved in August 2016 and are identified as follows. Tax map U7 Lot 22 is 0.4 acres, U723 at 0.84 acres, U724 at 0.49 acres, U725 at 0.5 acres, U7 Lot 57 at 0.47 acres, U7 Lot 58 at 0.509 acres, and tax map U7 Lot 59 at 0.62 acres. The 3 Lisbon tax lots identified as U757, U758, and U759, located on the westerly side of Hodge Hill, would be marketed as a combined sale at $88,500. The Lisbon tax lots identified as U722, U723, U724, and U725, located on the easterly side, would be marketed as a combined sale of $110,000. The department would also like to market the lots individually and simultaneously in conjunction with the 2 combined cluster listings. The listing price breakdown for each lot would be the following. U722 at $32,000, U723 at $39,000, U724 at $30,000, U725 at $32,000, U757 $34,000, U758 at $34,000, and U759 at $36,000. Market analysis has found listing as individual lots and combined clusters will likely attract buyers seeking either smaller marketable parcels for personal use or investment, and buyers also seeking to take advantage of lower price per acre in the cluster listings, which allows for more affordable investment overall. Combining multiple lots also provides more land area for development and increased value in resale. The department will assess an administrative fee of $1,100 pursuant to RSA 4:43A. Badger, Peabody, and Smith Realty, if successful in these sales, will be given a 6% sales commission. The parcels will be sold as is, where is, with no additional conditions. The buyer will be responsible for obtaining all local and state approvals before closing. Pre-qualified realtors in this region were sent to a request to submit a market analysis for the subject properties. Based on this request, the department received 1 response from Badger, Peabody, and Smith. The values provided in this analysis aligned with the state's appraisal done in July of 2024, which was done by a licensed certified general appraiser. The department will solicit the interest from the town of Lisbon pursuant to RSA 4:39C, and will interest from New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority pursuant to RSA 201D:2.
Questions regarding this matter? Senator Pearl.
So just quickly looking through this, thanks for coming in today, by the way, there's at least one of these lots that is not, doesn't appear like it's large enough to build. So you're looking to list the lots individually and then as a group cluster, or is there any thought towards selling, maybe combining a couple of them to make them, if they're substandard, to make them large enough to build on?
Thank you for the question, Senator. Yes, that is all possibilities were looked at, and based on the Realtor's professional opinion, we've come up with this solution, thinking this would attract the most buyers individually, again, for the houses that are meet zoning, can be developed, and then as the clusters to combine those for more affordable development purposes.
Move to approve.
Motion's been made to approve
I'll second that.
and seconded by Representative Cloutier. Any other questions? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, continuing with the Department of Transportation, LRCP 25-008. Requests the authorization to sell approximately 1.5 acres of state-owned land on the northerly side of Route 25 and west of Route 153 in the town of Effingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department requests authorization to sell approximately 1.5 acres of state-owned land located on the northerly side of New Hampshire, Route 25, and west of New Hampshire, Route 153 in Effingham. The sale will be direct to the abutter, James Owen, in the amount of $22,000 plus an administrative fee of $1,100. The parcel of land was acquired as part of the larger parcel from Sylvia Brennick in 1987 for the construction and realignment of Route 25 in Effingham. Conditions of the sale include the buyer commissioning a land survey license in New Hampshire to prepare a boundary survey illustrating the existing right-of-way and any mutual agreed-upon adjustments. The buyer will be responsible for all local and state approvals before closing. No access shall be granted to New Hampshire 25. Access to the parcel will be via Route 153. A staff appraiser from the department evaluated the property based on its contributory value, which was determined to be $22,000. Per state statute, the town of Effingham, New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority will be first offered the property. That's all I have.
Any questions? Motion has been made and seconded by Senators Pearl and Lang. Any further questions? Yes, Representative.
As I look at the map, you're proposing not to sell this entire parcel, but cutting off the northern little triangle. Is that correct? Is that going somewhere else?
It was requested or determined that that parcel is being offers some enjoyment to the abutting parcel to the east of it, I believe, and therefore it was not necessary for this part of the sale. That part was not necessary for this sale. The abutter that requesting this, Mr. Owens, is located westerly and easterly of.
Right. So it's just being retained. There's no proposal to do anything with that little triangle at the present time.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
The proposal is to retain that little triangle, not to dispose of it at the present time.
I believe that is the case, yes. Sorry.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. LRCP 25-009, DOT. Requests authorization to sell 0.15 acres of state-owned land located on the northwesterly side of New Hampshire Route 13 in the town of Mount Vernon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The department requests authorization to sell approximately 0.15 acres of state-owned land located on the northwesterly side of New Hampshire Route 13 in Mount Vernon. The property is not recognized by the town of Mount Vernon as an independent lot of record. Rather, it is a portion of the former Route 13, which was discontinued by the town of Mount Vernon. The sale will be direct to the abutter of Frank Osthausen in the amount of $9,800 plus an administrative fee of $1,100. The parcel of land was acquired as part of a larger parcel from George Blood and George Carleton in 1952 for the construction and realignment of New Hampshire Route 13 in Mount Vernon. Conditions of the sale include the buyer commissioning a land survey license in New Hampshire to prepare perimeter boundary surveying illustrating the existing right-of-way or any mutually agreed-upon adjustments. The buyer will be responsible for obtaining all local and state approvals before closing. Staff appraiser from the department evaluated the property based on its contributory value, which was determined to be $9,800. Per state statute, the town of Mount Vernon and New Hampshire Housing Finance Authority will be offered the property first.
Any questions?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, concerns? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I believe we're at the end of the Department of Transportation. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Moving on to disposal of real estate, LRCP 25-010, Department of Administrative Services. Requests approval on behalf of the New Hampshire Department of Military Affairs and of Veteran Services to sell on behalf of the state of New Hampshire to the town of Hillsborough. Welcome to Long Range Capital Planning, sir. You're up again.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, and members of the Honorable Committee. This proposed disposal consists of two easements, both relatively small. One is a temporary construction easement along the existing, I think it's a Route 11 right-of-way in Hillsborough. And then the other one, and this is a temporary construction easement, just a strip of land basically allowing access to the project, which is a sidewalk project, and being conducted by the town of Hillsborough, as I understand it, in partnership with DOT. That is the temporary, okay, so there's a temporary construction easement, which is a small strip of land along the right-of-way, and then there is a perpetual drainage infrastructure easement a little further, also on the frontage with the right-of-way, near the corner of the lot, and that is for a culvert and drain and I think some other roadway drainage infrastructure. The total area affected is just over 1,000 square feet for the temporary construction easement, which would have a expiration term of 2 years, maximum expiration term of 2 years. And then the perpetual drainage infrastructure easement is even smaller, 467 square feet proposed area. Any questions?
Move to approve item number 25010.
Motion has been made and seconded by Senators Lang and Pearl. I see, he does that ventriloquist thing so well sometimes. Any further questions or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to LRCP 25-001, Department of Administrative Services, Bureau of Court Facilities to enter into a use of premises agreement with the County of Rockingham. Welcome to Long Range Capital Planning, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, and the members of the committee. I'm Brian Young, Assistant Administrator with the Bureau of Court Facilities. We work under Department of Administrative Services. The department wishes to continue to lease out 18,053 square feet of state-owned space on the lower level of the Rockingham County Superior Courthouse, located at 10 Route 125 in Brentwood, for the Rockingham County's use of office space for County Attorney and Deeds Department. The agreement's for the period of May 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, for a total revenue of $129,000, $552.72. The space being utilized by the county is a benefit to both the state and the county for the functionality and efficiency of the court. The state does recuperate its costs through this agreement for the space. Thank you.
Any questions?
Move to approve item 25011.
I'll second that motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Questions or concerns? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Miscellaneous items, moving on, we have none. Informational items, we have a number of them. Would you please walk us through these, Mr. Shea? LRCP 25-002.
So 002 is the biennial report that this committee looked at in draft form in November. This was from our office. This basically is all the actions the committee took in 23 and 24 related to selling of properties or leasing properties. And so it just compiles all that information and gives you a status update through November. The next three items are from the Council on Resources and Development. So projects that want to be disposed of have to go to that committee to get their approval as well. And these are just their minutes telling you that they approved certain projects. No actions are needed on any of this.
Thank you, sir. Then the next thing we have to do is set the date of our next meeting. I believe we tentatively have April 14th
That's correct.
at 9:30, a Monday. Seeing no disapproval, so be it.
Move to adjourn.
Senator Pearl. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair?
I was watching you.